G'day guys, what's going on and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be running through my round 16 tips. Now last weekend I only got 5 out of 9 tips in probably one of the most difficult rounds to tip so far. So I'm left on 78 points in total and I'm now in 20th spot in my own competition. In first place in my own competition we have Geordie Pluto, but we also have an equal first place in Georgie's. They're both on 88 points at the top. Geordie Pluto got 5 out of 9 and Georgie's got 6 out of 9. Looking at the other places, in third place it's 87 points, in fourth place it's 86 points. We have a few 86 pointers, a few 85 pointers as well, so it's very tight at the top. But then I'm just sitting in 20th spot, so it looks like I'm out of the race unless a miracle happens, but I don't think it will. But yeah, without further ado, let's run through my round 16 tips. Kicking off round 16, we have a big Thursday night clash between the Lions and the Dogs. I've backed the Lions in this one. Now I know the Lions did absolutely get thumped last weekend against the D's, but I think they're going to come out this weekend with a bit more fire in their belly and want to get back on the winners list at their home ground. The Dogs, they played a very good game last weekend against Hawthorn. They didn't start that game in great fashion, but they got back into that game, and once they did, it was just a blowout from there. So I'm expecting this game to be very competitive, considering the Dogs are, finding a little bit of some good form at the moment, but I've backed the Lions in this one by 15 points. Like I said, I think it's going to be a very good game, a very entertaining game. So yeah, I'm going to back the Lions by 15 points. I think that's a respectable margin for this game. Moving on to Friday night footy, we've got the Blues taking on the Saints in another very good contest. I'm going to back the Blues in this one. I just feel like the Blues have been playing the better footy throughout the past few weeks. I mean, even in their losses, they've been very competitive. In their loss to the Tigers, they were competitive in that one. Almost won that one, just lost it in the final few minutes. And then in that loss against Collingwood, they were very competitive and almost ended up winning that game as well. So they've had some competitive losses and then also won a few games as well against the Dons and against the Dockers. And the Dockers are no easy feat nowadays, so that's a very impressive win for a team with a very undermanned backline as well. So I was very impressed with how the Blues handled themselves last weekend. The Saints, though, they're not looking that great at the moment. 2 losses in a row and an embarrassing loss to the Swans, I would say. I mean, they only had 20 points at one stage in the final quarter, so there you go. So yeah, I'm expecting the Blues to win this one over the Saints. Moving on to the Saturday games, we have the Dons taking on the Swans at the MCG. Bit of rhyming there. I'm going to back the Swans in this one. Jeez, the Dons are just such a weird team. They beat the Saints and then they lose to the Eagles. It just doesn't really make sense to me at all. But the Swans have just been playing some terrific footy. And that game against St Kilda, I mean, Jesus, what a great performance that was. They kept the Saints to a very low score for the majority of the game and just kept, scoring on their end. So, yeah, it was very good to watch from the Swans' point of view. So, yeah, I'm going to back the Swans in this game to beat the Bombers. They've just, pretty much been the better team all season than the Bombers. So, yeah, the Swans for me over the Dons in this game. The 4:35 game, we have the Crows taking on the D's. The D's, Jesus, they found some form last weekend against the Lions, did they what? I mean, they absolutely thumped them. They didn't start that game in a great fashion, but then once they got back into that game, like the Dogs on Friday night, they absolutely blew the Lions out of the water. So it was very impressive to see. I mean, it was just good to see because you could just tell that they got that sort of Demons brand footy back into them, Once that clicked into gear, it was just an ongoing wave of goals for the D, so it was very impressive to watch. The Crows, on the other hand, their second half against North Melbourne was very good. That first half I wouldn't say was the greatest, sort of allowed North Melbourne to stay in that game, but very impressed with their second half. They just blew out They blew North Melbourne out in the water, so it was very good to watch from them. But yeah, I'm going to back the D's. They found some form last weekend, and I think they're going to carry it over this weekend and beat the Crows at the Adelaide Oval. Saturday night games, we have the Cats taking on the Roos. I'm going to back the Cats in this one. There's not much to say. I mean, how impressive were the Cats? I mean, they had a 30-point lead, and then it got blown away by the Tigers, and you're thinking the Tigers were going to win that game. I mean, the Tigers just had all the pressure on the Cats. They were kicking goals, but then the Cats just flicked a switch and got back into that game, and then ended up taking back the lead. And thanks to a Henry goal there in the last few seconds, they ended up winning. So I was very impressed with how the Cats managed themselves in that game and didn't, give up once the Tigers took the lead from them. So I was very impressed with that. Yeah, North Melbourne, though, on the other hand, they're just looking very disappointing at this stage of the season. I mean, they had a good start to that game against Adelaide, but the second half they just got blown out the water, so you can't really say much. It should be the Cats getting the job done over North Melbourne in this game. Then the second Saturday night game, we have the Suns taking on the Pies at Metricon Stadium. I'm gonna back Gold Coast in this one. I know a few people are gonna bag me in the comments for doing this, but the pessimism in me has taken over, so I'm gonna tip the Suns in this one. But yeah, there's a few good reasons why you can tip the Suns. I mean, they've just generally been a good team this season. They took it up to Port Adelaide last weekend in a very tightly contested game and only lost by 2 points. And at Metricon Stadium, they seem to play very, very well, especially in the humid conditions up there in the Gold Coast. So it's going to be very tough for my Pies. I'm hoping that we put on a good performance. It should be a very entertaining game. I'll be at this game. I'll be up in the Gold Coast watching it live there at Metricon. So yeah, I'm hoping my boys can put on a good performance, but unfortunately, the pessimism has taken over. So I'm going to back the Suns in this one to beat me Pies. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Collingwood fans. I'm so sorry. I will tip them one week, I promise. The Sunday games kick off with Richmond taking on the West Coast Eagles. I'm going to back the Tigers in this one. They've just been playing some terrific footy as of late. They came up just short against the Cats, but they played some terrific footy to get back into that game after they were 30 points down, and I honestly thought they were going to steal that game. I mean, in that fourth quarter they were playing some terrific footy until that last 10-minute patch of the game. But yeah, the Eagles though, congratulations to them on getting their second win, but I don't think they're going to be able to cop another win at the MCG against Richmond as well. So I'm going to back the Tigers in this one. They've just been playing some great footy all round. They've been finding some really good form as of late. So yeah, they should be able to get the job done over the Eagles in this one. Then the second game of the Sunday games, we have the Giants taking on the Hawks at Giants Stadium. Bit of a tough one to tip. Both teams have been pretty inconsistent with results, you can say, this year. But I'm going to back the Giants. I just feel like home crowd advantage is going to pay dividends in this game. When you look at the game against Collingwood that the Giants played, I mean, the first 3 quarters, they were very dull, the Giants. They were very slow, they were very methodical, and I just don't think that helped them at all. But in the last quarter, when they turned on and played a fast brand of footy like we know the Giants can, they looked much better, and they almost stole the game from us, which I was very nervous about. So yeah, I think if the Giants can play a fast-paced game, they can be able to get the job done over the Hawks. But if they play slow and methodical, the Hawks definitely have a chance. The Hawks have been very decent this year. I mean, they obviously were quite disappointing against the Dogs last weekend, but besides that result, before that, they were playing some decent footy. So I'm thinking they're going to play a decent brand of footy in this game against the Giants, but if the Giants, like I said, can play a fast brand of footy, I think they'll get on top and beat the Hawks in this game. And then the last game of the weekend is another very interesting one. It is the Dockers taking on Port Adelaide at Optus Stadium. Port Adelaide's starting to find a bit of form, I mean, they've been playing some decent footy as of late, and they came up trumps against the Suns, who, the Suns are no easy beat this season. So I was very impressed with how the Power managed that game. But yeah, I'm going to back the Dockers in this one, even though they were quite disappointing in their loss against the Blues. You look at other results that the Dockers have had, and you think that they should be able to come out in this game, just forget about that disappointing result against the Blues and get the job done over the Power in front of their home crowd at Optus Stadium. So yeah, I'm going to back the Dockers in this one to beat the Power in what should be a very interesting game. I mean, I'm sure the Power will be very competitive in this one. I just think the Dockers will be too good in the end and come up with the Chockies. And those are all my tips done and dusted for round 16. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. My next video should be out on Wednesday actually, because I'll be staying in the Gold Coast until Tuesday, so I won't be able to get the match day vlog out on Sunday. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. You guys are just gonna have to be patient with it. I'm very sorry, but I only get back on Tuesday from the Gold Coast and I won't be able to edit the match day vlog up there. So yeah, just be patient. The match day vlog will be out on Wednesday, but besides that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and I'll catch you in that video soon. Cheers.